Hillary is the brand they know. It's when you say Bernie Sanders, until 3 months ago, people were like, who is that? Where's Vermont? I've never met anybody from Vermont.
The younger generation of black people are waking up. That's what the Bernie Sanders campaign is all about.
I don't think that we are taken seriously. We are taken for granted. With the Clintons, it was put in us that he was the first black president. But name me something that they actually did for the black community.
We're gonna get knocking.
JADA Williams is a student at the University of South Carolina. She's been canvassing for Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign since last August. Which way are we going?
We are going down the street right
Down the
here.
street.
Hey, my name's JADA. I'm with Hillary Clinton's campaign, and I was wondering if we could count on your support for Hillary in the Democratic primary.
Yes, ma'am. I'll be voting for Hillary Clinton this week.
Awesome. That's what I like to hear.
On Saturday, South Carolina will hold the next Democratic primary, the last before 12 states vote together on Super Tuesday. This is going to be the fourth contest between Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton. The big difference here is going to be African Americans, who usually make up more than 50% of the electorate in this state. That's going to be really important for Hillary Clinton, who needs a big win here to sort of turn the tide on the narrative of the Sanders campaign so far. African American voters, especially in the South, still have a lot of love for the Clinton family, but Bernie's trying to make inroads in taking some of those voters away from her before Saturday's contest. Saturday's primary will be the first to gauge candidates' support within the African American community.
South Carolina, are you ready?
This will be a crucial test given that black voters make up a large part of the Democratic electorate in other Southern contests down the road. There's been a new focus on so-called black issues and a political phenomenon known as the black vote. Senator, how are you doing? Darrell Jackson is a Democratic political consultant, influential pastor, and 6-term senator in the South Carolina legislature. So the media talks a lot about the black vote. Where does that term hit and where does it sort of miss the mark?
The whole black vote thing, I think, comes from a time in which the black vote voted together, and we still do to a certain degree in general elections as relates for the Democratic Party. But in primaries, it has been proven that they can be split. To me, I think it shows a sign of tremendous progress when no one can say the black vote and talk about all of us. Because when you do, it's easy to take it for granted. Yeah.
Both of these candidates are going after the African American vote. Right. Where do you go to sort of get that vote?
You go to the radio stations that they listen to. You go to the areas where they are. They're in barbershops and beauty shops, and they're out in colleges. And the African American church has historically been a place where people say you really go to talk to African American voters. That is because it has been the source of a lot of information in the past, and that is still true to a certain degree.
If you look at the South, the church has played a huge role in the African American community for decades, not just as a place of community, but as a place of political activism. The Clintons have spent decades building up relationships in these communities, and Hillary Clinton's going to rely heavily on voters turning out on Saturday from churches like this one. So there's a primary coming up on Saturday between Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton. Which way are you ladies leaning?
I really don't know too much about, what's his name, Bernie? No, ma'am. I don't know. I'm quite leaning towards the lady for the first president of the United States of America. And I think that maybe she may have a lot to offer us, you know. But Bernie Sanders, I don't know that much about him. Like I said, I have to pray about it.
Among black voters most likely to show up on Saturday, those over 45, recent polls show Hillary with a whopping 60-point lead. The Clinton name is the one they've known since Bill Clinton's 1992 presidential campaign. Respect for former President Clinton, who was born poor to a single mother in the Deep South, runs so deep he was dubbed the first black president. But Hillary's campaign is running into trouble where they least expected it. As you've talked to people in this community about the election, do you have a sense of where they're leaning, what they're feeling about 2016?
Me personally, I like Bernie Sanders. I like his views. Even before they got to the point to where they are now, I was listening for him. Some like Hillary because of the history of the Clintons, you know. But I think right now, I think we're kind of looking at an even race.
How do you explain that with how well known Hillary Clinton is?
We've learned more. We're not just stuck where we used to be. We see ourselves better. And that's kind of what happened with the Clintons, that it was put in us that he was the first black president, you know. But name me something that they actually did for the black community that you can tie them to, that you can label, say, this is actually what Bill Clinton has done to help the black community. You know, you can hear, well, they've been supporting the black community, they've been in the black community, but where have they been?
Every 4 years, these politicians, particularly Democrats, come in and they try to scoop up the African American vote. Do you feel like black voters are sort of taken for granted by Democratic politicians every 4 years?
Yeah. I don't think that we're taken seriously. I really don't. I do think that we are taken for granted. I think sometimes it seems as though that we are ignorant to facts. People don't understand policy. And if we can get the people in place to change the policy, then it affects then our community becomes better. Then we see things changing. But now we've learned to do our research, to not just jump at the first thing that's promised.
Pastor Winston Oliphant is just one of a small but growing number of black leaders who are questioning the accepted orthodoxy of Clinton's commitment to African Americans. Though he hasn't endorsed Bernie Sanders, a number of high-profile figures in the black community have.
Bernie Sanders comes out of a tradition of people in this nation who have been trying to tell the truth and bear witness to justice for a long time, because we're losing American democracy.
Civil rights activist Cornel West is one of the preeminent public thinkers on race and class in America. Polling in South Carolina still shows that the majority of African Americans are still supporting the Clintons at this point in the race. What is it that they're missing?
Ears don't come to an end overnight, but it's the new energy. There's a democratic awakening taking place. That's what the Bernie Sanders campaign is all about.
What is your message to some of these African American voters in South Carolina as you're out here who have long supported the Clintons, who feel like the Clintons provided the path to them 10, 20 years ago?
In the mid-90s, many of us were critical of Bill Clinton, though, that he had signed a very vicious welfare bill that had pulled the rug from under many precious poor people, not just black, but poor across the country. And probably more disturbing than anything is that when he signed that crime bill, and so it's no accident you see the expansion of the new Jim Crow, the expansion of the prison system under the Clintons, and most magnificently is that the younger generation of black people are waking up. They know they live in the age of Ferguson because they've helped usher in that age of Ferguson. They're standing up, bearing witness to justice. 4 months from now, you watch how the shift sets in.
To see if that shift was setting in here, we went to the South Carolina State House to see if the Clinton name still held sway. So what is kind of the history of the black vote and this focus on picking up African American voters?
The history of the black vote in South Carolina kind of goes back to how downtrodden we were, how downtrodden African Americans have been throughout history. The fact that a lot of African Americans in this state are direct descendants of slaves. We experienced racial problems up until 2016, and because of those racial problems, you do have a more monolithic group of people than you would in other states. It is typically a Democratic crowd, and it is one someone that has a memory longer than most people know about.
What is that memory like with the Clinton family?
The memory for the Clinton family is just huge. Bill Clinton was one of the most beloved presidents that I can remember, certainly in my lifetime, in the African-American community. As far as Hillary goes, she's somebody that started off her law career in South Carolina 40 years ago. So people know what they did for African Americans, and they remember it. And their stories are being told by an older generation of African Americans to this younger generation as well.
Only 6 members of South Carolina's legislature have backed the Sanders campaign. Hillary Clinton has more than 30. And when you look at local politics, it isn't hard to see why. When you talk to people who support Hillary, is it just a name recognition, or is it about like what she represents and her policy?
Hillary is the brand they know. It's when you say Bernie Sanders, until 3 months ago, people were like, who is that? Where's Vermont? I've never met anybody from Vermont. So I mean, if we walk and start knocking on doors of these shops and you talk to people, it's not gonna be torn between Hillary and Sanders. You're gonna get more Hillary. So that's just the makeup of our time.
Terrence Colbreth is the mayor of Johnston, South Carolina, an agricultural, heavily African-American community known as the peach capital of the world.
Introduce you to some folks. What up? What's that?
I'm not really a politician, but I'm a registered voter, you know what I'm saying? So I probably would be voting for Miss Hillary Clinton.
Voting for Hillary?
Yeah, I'm a Democratic man.
Why Hillary?
Well, she's mostly, you know, got a same thing as the husband got, that swag and helping the majority of middle class people.
You think it's a lot to do with Bill?
Yes, a whole lot to do with Bill.
So I don't know, I've been seeing this picture pop up and it say Billary. It just got a B instead of the H. So
when it comes out of that, what you expect, you know what I'm saying? You got if she ever get in the chair, Bill gonna be back in the White House, so Bill gonna be pushing buttons behind him, you know?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Bill was a good president. Tom. Thank you, buddy.
South Carolina, like many southern states, has a poverty rate that is disproportionately high in African American communities. And no campaign can ignore the fact that these voters are desperate for greater opportunity, no matter which candidate it comes from. Terrence has been telling us, like, basically everyone in town's a Hillary person.
And I'm just kind of like, listen to all of them, we need jobs. You know, now we don't have that around here no more. And then, you know, most of us are convicted felons. I've been to prison 2 times, you know what I'm saying? So when I got out of prison, I go fill out jobs and stuff like that there. It's kind of like hard for me to get a job. And I've been out of prison 11 years. And I still have had a studied job since I've been out. So I really hope somebody can get it there from a Republican or Democrat can see that when you walk out of prison, we need an opportunity to try to, you know, change. And like for me, the future of our kids around here it's like no hope here. Think about the peoples at the bottom too. You know what I'm saying? Cause this is where the work needed at.
I just visited a program in Charleston that helps turn around the lives and broaden the horizons of men coming out of prison. I'm looking for programs like that because I want to do everything I can to give more people a second, third, and fourth chance.
The last time Clinton competed in the South Carolina primary, back in 2008, nearly 80% of African American women voted for Barack Obama. This time around, she's hoping those same women will back her instead and deal a similar blow to Bernie Sanders.
I've been traveling around our country speaking about how we can knock down barriers, all the barriers that hold Americans back, including the barrier of systemic racism. I've emphasized that any view of Black America that focuses exclusively on crime or poverty or other challenges is really missing the big picture. It's missing the vibrancy of the Black church. And it's definitely missing the power, strength, and sacredness of Black sisterhood.
So we're here in Columbia, South Carolina with the Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority. Hillary Clinton is just over there getting mobbed by supporters and reporters.
You are excited about her campaign.
The Bernie campaign likes to talk a lot about the welfare bill and the crime bill as evidence that she didn't really care about this community until now, when she needs you.
Where was Bernie? We didn't hear about him. But when the Clintons were there, they were providing money to help us in schools, to help us with jobs.
Hillary Clinton's expected to do very well here with African American voters on Saturday, but not for the reason most people think. The Clinton legacy is as much of an asset to her campaign as it is a liability. She's still polling very well with young African American voters, the ones that Bernie Sanders is targeting. And older voters we talked to here had no idea who he was. But this is just the beginning. African Americans make up a huge part of the Democratic Party electorate, especially in the South. And 6 of those states are going to vote on Super Tuesday, which is just a few days away.